Good morning, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm bringing a video to you on a subject that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know. And I want to talk about tests. Unofficial contests where some people might not even be aware that they're being tested. Sometimes this happens. And I want to talk about proper procedures and things that are actually criminal if it gets down to it, and some important things to keep in mind. So for starters, there are things called popularity contests. It's a type of test where people are voted upon by a panel of audience members or judges, and it is decided based on the preference of those people who is the winner. And you can think of beauty pageants, you can think of anything where aesthetics are involved, or it's just a matter of preference mostly, such as who is most attractive in some case. And the problem is that many times these types of contests are rolled out and presented as a form of objective value, some kind of, we say this is a measurement. It's a scientific measurement, but it's not. Okay, now here's why. For example, consider that you can very easily prove that many popularity contests do not reveal what is healthy or is even productive in the sense of what the contest is aiming to look at. Consider that your selection of judges or audience members who are voting or whatever have been exposed previously to certain cultures, certain types of people, certain aesthetic criteria where it influences their voting. This is especially obvious in any democratic process, which is just a popularity contest if you think about it. It's just a big-scale popularity contest where people are saying, I like this over that, and I'm going to give it my vote. It's the same idea. So consider that in cases where, like for example, alcohol was prohibited back in the 1920s, people voted on this. It was democratically approved to outlaw alcohol. This is a fun example. I've rolled this out a few times in my videos. And then, 13 years later or 17 years later, something, it was repealed. The prohibition of alcohol was repealed legally because it was unsupportable. So it stands to reason that because alcohol is popular, it came back into fashion. It came back, but it had previously been voted against. So this shows that votes can change. Not only can they change, but they can be wildly unhealthy. You can be attracted to things that are unsavory, that are toxic, that are downright counterproductive or destructive, and this is unfortunately sometimes the case in popularity contests, and I've seen this. So for another example, many women, especially young women, are notoriously attracted to the bad guy. They're notoriously attracted to, you can test this actually, don't take my word for it because I've seen it and you can repeat the same test. Average young women will prefer, if they have to choose, the man or boy who throws his money in the gutter versus the man or boy who is humble but making money, who's working and who perhaps does not appear as well-to-do right off the bat. But unfortunately, many young women, not all of them, are attracted to the symbol of wealth rather than the behavior of wealth acquisition, if that makes sense. Have two men of equal or similar appearance walk in front of the same panel or a similar panel of women, have one of them just throw his money in the gutter, and then have the other one pick the money up out of the gutter and see which one is more attractive to the women. Now, if you think about it, it's true. Check it out. I've seen this literally with my own eyes. The one who's picking up money out of the gutter is making money. It's a behavior that is conducive to acquiring wealth, of becoming stronger and healthier in this world, of putting your pride aside to do what is necessary to get stronger. Whereas the one who is throwing the money away only appears to have the money. He appears to have so much symbolically that he doesn't care about it anymore. And the sad part, unfortunately, is that young women especially will be attracted to the man who is throwing the money away. This is a toxic behavior, and it's a toxic preference, and it's a product not of the women themselves, but of the culture we live in. Now, here's what I'm saying. This particular contest is a perfect example because it shows how preferences, especially in aesthetics or popularity, can be wildly skewed by the environment, by your previous experiences, by the things that you've been taught and trained on, and your environment, your culture, excuse me. So with that in mind, last thing I'll say, just over 5 minutes, to call it scientific is a misnomer. Misnomer means it's the wrong words, it doesn't fit the thing in question. What you want to do is call it what it is. Call it a popularity contest with some disclosure that the selection might not be what we're advertising. The actual result of this test or contest might actually be harmful to you. It might not be the best candidate or person for the job or whatever is being tested, what the expected outcome is. It's very important that popularity by itself is never called science, because it revolves entirely around personal preference. Moreover, it revolves around exposure to cultures and things that aren't necessarily even connected to the question. So, something to think about. And I have personally been the victim of this. And final conclusion, I've been the victim of such a test without even knowing it. And I want to just mention that testing people without their consent or knowledge is a wild breach of privacy. It's usually criminal and can result in prosecution. If you are forsaking their agreement, if you are forsaking their consent to participate in a contest or a game of some kind, that becomes a crime. Consider that you can call robbery a game, but it's not a game. What's the difference? It's the lack of consent and knowledge. If you're just approaching somebody with a purse or a wallet and you say, "Give me that," that's not a contest because it's non-consensual. That's the difference. Something to think about. Consent's very important. Agreement is the hinge between a game and a crime. Reach out if you like down below with questions or comments, and have a beautiful day. Thank you.